He was the greatest genius of the 20th century, the man who created the alternating current system that lights up the globe, held over 300 patents, and could build colossal machines entirely in his imagination. But behind that superhuman mind lay bizarre, almost chilling secrets. Every single night before closing his eyes, this man was compelled to perform an obsessive ritual. He had to manually squish and massage his toes exactly 100 times per foot, not one time more and absolutely not one time less. Why was one of humanity's greatest minds chained to such an insane habit? And what is the real secret behind these 200 toe squishes every night? In 1893, at the Chicago World's Fair, Nikola Tesla stood before tens of thousands of people, proudly passing millions of volts of electricity through his own body without a scratch. In the eyes of the public, he was a god who controlled thunder and lightning, a brilliant mind who had boldly defeated Thomas Edison in the fierce War of the Currents. But when the doors of his room at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel closed, that god disappeared. All that remained was a captive man, wrestling within his own mind. The world praised Tesla's greatness, but rarely did anyone know the horrifying price he had to pay. The brain that could visualize the exact 3D structure of an electric motor was also the birthplace of ultimate terrors. Women wearing pearls, he would feel nauseous and immediately leave the room. Touching someone else's hair? Absolutely not. The number of napkins on the table, it strictly had to be divisible by 3. Out of all the obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, behaviors that tormented Tesla throughout his life, his nightly toe-squishing habit was the most unusual. It wasn't simply an unconscious tic or panic. To Tesla, it was a system, a survival mechanism. He firmly believed that hundreds of forceful presses on his toes every night were a direct form of biological intervention, a secret ritual to stimulate his brain cells and recharge the colossal thinking machine that was operating in overdrive. If this ritual stopped, the power source in his brain might short-circuit and all his great ideas would be extinguished forever. To fully decode this bizarre habit, we have to penetrate the core of how Nikola Tesla's brain functioned. He didn't experience the world like ordinary people. From his childhood, Tesla suffered from an incredibly rare neurological phenomenon. He was frequently bombarded by blinding flashes of light in his vision, accompanied by images so vivid that he couldn't distinguish between hallucination and reality. When hearing a word, he would instantly see a detailed image of that object materialize before his eyes. Tesla's brain was a flawless 3D simulation machine. He could design an entire giant turbine, test run it in his head, detect metal wear and tear, and repair it without ever drawing a single line on paper. But this immense power came with a cruel punishment. That machine never turned off. This hypersensitivity of his senses kept Tesla in a constant state of extreme nervous tension. He could hear the ticking of a watch 3 rooms away. The sound of horse-drawn carriages on cobblestones echoed in his eardrums like rolling thunder. Even a single ray of sunlight shining through the window was enough to cause him piercing brain aches. And this was exactly when the 100-toe squish habit emerged, acting as a pressure release valve for his overloaded nervous system. Tesla didn't view his body as mere mortal flesh and bone. In the mindset of a great engineer, he saw the human body as a complex mechanical system operating on electromechanical principles. And if the body was a machine, it needed to be maintained using physical impulses. He didn't squish his toes unconsciously. Tesla himself asserted in his documented records that his continuous flexing, massaging, and squishing of his toes hundreds of times a night was a deliberate exercise. The soles of human feet concentrate thousands of nerve endings that link directly to the brain. By pressing and massaging his toes with intense pressure and precise rhythm, Tesla believed he was stimulating his brain cells. He was practicing a form of reflexology and biohacking centuries ahead of his time. Those hundreds of compressions helped boost blood circulation, pushing physical energy from the ground up to nourish the exhausted neurons at the top of his head. Furthermore, it was his way of grounding. Just as a high-voltage electrical system always needs a ground wire connected to the earth to prevent explosions, Tesla's brain held millions of volts of relentlessly discharging ideas. The toe-squishing habit was his only physical ground wire, pulling his mind from distant universes back to the present, preventing him from total mental collapse. The number 100 wasn't random either. It was proof of the obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, that was eroding his mind. Everything in Tesla's life had to follow strict mathematical symmetry. If he happened to lose track of which rep he was on or felt the pressure wasn't perfectly applied, he was forced to start all over again from zero. In his final years, Tesla lived in poverty and isolation in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. Gone were the grandiose laboratories, gone were the thunder-roaring machines, but the habit of squishing his toes hundreds of times a night silently accompanied him until his very last breaths.
That bizarre ritual was not merely a pathological symptom. It was a cruel symbol of an endless war between a mind beyond its time and the fragile limits of the human body. Tesla used his own body as a test subject, pushing his nervous system to the most extreme limits, enduring the imprisonment of 1,000 obsessions, just to keep the flame of his intellect from extinguishing. He accepted burning himself out in solitude to light up all of human civilization. What do you think about this brutal price of genius? Does greatness always have to be traded for mental torment? Leave your thoughts in the comments below so we can discuss it together. If you are truly shocked by Tesla's secret and want to explore more crazy hidden corners and undocumented facts about historical figures that never made it into the textbooks, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel right now. Turn on the notification bell because this world still has countless buried secrets waiting for us to decode. Thank you for watching and see you in our next journeys.